lovely peaches. So I ended up having to break the videos that I made yesterday into 2 parts because it got so long. And so if you're interested in watching, well, some of it I guess is overlap, but I made a part 1 of housekeeping updates, corrections, and I start talking a bit about the new videos I want to make. Using my interest in the law and legal analyst to create videos allegedly and for entertainment and insight coaching purposes only, and this is all my opinion. Okay, so also I have a note here. Hindsight is 20/20. Reverse engineering may sometimes create a false narrative, which is a good thing to segue that I have another video that I want to create, which is titled When Sharing Trauma Doesn't Make You Closer. Okay, and that was part 1 of this. Part 2 of this is where I get more into Allison Holker and Stephen Twitch Boss's romantic relationship timeline. And I do a mini dive and I explore it a little bit. I also just wanted to pop on the very beginning of this to say that Dana Carvey's son died on Saturday unexpectedly, and that's really terrible and tragic. He was 32 years old. Apparently he had a drug addiction and it was an accidental overdose. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because Dana had put out a statement the next day, and I'm going to read it just because I just want to say, I guess sometimes people do put statements out immediately the day after and they're well thought out and stuff. And so I am just putting this here to say I'm not accusing Allison Holker of foul play, and this video is not about trying to make her look like someone who was, had a plan. Maybe she just was a young woman who fell in love with a man who shared the same passion for dancing, and he hid his emotional traumas from her. He didn't speak up. He didn't say what he really needed to say, and then he chose the worst way to handle the fact that he was unable to share his feelings or to work through it. So I just want to put this in the beginning of the video, and then I'm going to also read Dana Carvey's tribute to his son. So Dana Carvey is a comedian, an actor, and his son, 32 years old, Dex. So I actually was a little bit surprised at some of the parallels in this tribute to Allison Holker's tribute to Twitch. But I do want to just add that if you have a son, an adult son, who's been struggling with drug addiction for years, then it's not the same. I'm not saying it's easier or less shocking or less horrific or less heartbreaking or any of those things. I'm just saying it's not exactly the same as somebody who instantaneously is gone and you had no clues. You had no reason to ever think it would happen. You had, like with Matthew Perry, it was horrific, tragic. Maybe he had a heart attack and drowned because he was having a heart attack in the water and he couldn't get out or something. I don't know. It hasn't been determined yet. Maybe he died from pharmaceutical drugs. I don't know. Okay. It's still tragic and horrific, and it doesn't make it easy, but there is a difference. There's a difference in how it feels when something is just a shocking out of the blue. There was absolutely no reason for you to think that this person would be gone versus somebody who's been struggling for years. Okay, so very small. So Dana Carvey wrote on Twitter, well, first of all, he had said, fuck the tabloids. So I'll link the article in the description box, as well as the other article I referenced, but I just wanted to show Dana Carvey's photo. That's how he looks. His son is literally his twin. Rest in peace, Dex Carvey, so young, a baby. And that's where he says, fuck the tabloids. I guess they were exploiting his son's death for clicks and views. So that's them together. He was also a comedian. And Dana Carvey is a comedian. He was also part of Wayne's World. So he's a beloved comedian who, he was born in 1955, Dana, and that's his son Dex, his twin. So just including this. And I guess the tabloids are going up a bit crazy. So 15 hours ago, Dana Carvey posted, last night we suffered a terrible tragedy. Our beloved son Dex died from an accidental drug overdose. He was 32 years old. Dex packed a lot into those 32 years. He was extremely talented at so many things: music, art, filmmaking, comedy, and pursued all of these passionately. It's not an exaggeration to say that Dex loved life, and when you were with him, you loved life too. He made everything fun, but most of all, he loved his family, his friends, and his girlfriend, Kaylee. Dex was a beautiful person. His handmade birthday cards are a treasure. We will miss him forever. To anyone struggling with addiction or who loves someone struggling with addiction, you are in our hearts and prayers, Dana and Paula. That is very sad and heartbreaking, and my condolences and rest in peace. So the Dex packed a lot into those 32 years. Like, I hated that. Because it's just so, like, I don't know. But again, that's what I'm saying. I'm not acting like I'm some kind of expert who couldn't tell you how a person is supposed to grieve, because even experts can't tell you what's appropriate, what's an appropriate thing to say, what's an appropriate way to grieve, when is the appropriate time to make a statement about the loss that you're experiencing. I don't have some kind of like, this is how it should be, or else it looks weird. But as we all know, with a variety of people who have gone through, somebody was missing or somebody something, and then they were doing a statement, like Chris Watts and Aaron Patterson and what's that other guy, Lacey, what's the name, also Patterson?
2002 was an American woman killed while 8 months pregnant with her first child. Lacey's husband, Scott Lee Peterson, was convicted of first-degree murder for her death and second-degree murder for the death of their unborn son.
Scott Peterson had killed Lacey Peterson. And again, and she was supposedly missing, and so I'm saying that we do often notice when people are grieving in a way that seems off. So, like with Dana Carvey's message, I'm not saying it was wrong of him to say that. I'm just saying it sounded so final. It is. Death is final. He packed so much into those 32 years. I just couldn't possibly imagine getting my mind around saying that about my child. Like, there's just no way. However, maybe if I had seen my child struggling with an addiction for however many years, I would feel differently. I don't know. So I'm just throwing this in here in the very beginning as a caveat and a disclaimer, and an alternate perspective of another person, very unfortunately, tragically, who lost someone dear to them in an unexpected, tragic way, and put out a statement the next day that echoed a lot of the sentiments that Allison Holker put out about Twitch. So, if you're interested in hearing me go over the timeline of Allison and Twitch's relationship and my thoughts about it, and you want to hear the statement that she put out, then continue watching. Okay, so Allison Holker and Twitch. So there's an article and video clips that I want to get about a few things. So one is this video clip of them talking about trying for another baby, and in that clip it seems like he could just be kind of joking about it, but body language, I feel like it's possible he really didn't want another baby, but she was talking about, like, the way he said it's a daily conversation, and the expressions that he was making made me wonder, is she the one who's pushing for this much more than him? Okay, and so that's something that I want to find that, so that I can, instead of just talking about it, which I'm doing right now, I can actually do the research. And I don't know when I'm going to get around to that, but that's on my radar. Then, oh, so the other correction that I wanted to make, I don't know if it's an actual correction, but in yesterday's video, sus behavior, and I talked about two different podcasts that Stephen Twitch Boss had done with Aubrey Marcus. However, when I looked at them again, I'm not really clear. It looks like one was recorded in May of 2013, but then it was reposted 7 years ago. And then the second one looks like it might have been recorded in 2014. However, I'm not sure, because they sort of had the same name. They were both number 18. And I'm not sure if maybe in 2014, Aubrey Marcus just reposted like an edited version, because they're only about 10 minutes difference, one being like 27 something, the other like 30 something minutes. So I'm wondering if the second video was just a sort of pared down, edited version of the original podcast. And then there was another thing about it, which was that in the clip where it had Stephen Twitch's picture and there was like audio playing, and that was an article that I had included in that video, which was posted on December 14th, 2022. And there was a clip on there where Aubrey had said, I believe it was Aubrey had said, like, oh, you're writing a book. I had the gun in my hand. And then they kind of laugh about how silly and ridiculous, like, oh, it was over some silly, ridiculous thing. However, I did remember seeing that or hearing that before, but however, it was not in the transcript of either of those two podcasts that I linked in the description of that video that I posted yesterday, sus behavior. I copy and pasted the transcript and like searched it to see where in there did he say that, because I was trying to audio record that specific part, but it wasn't in there. So I don't know if that was from a different podcast, interview, or what. So that was another thing I wanted to mention. 10:48. Let's see. What else? What else did I want to say? Okay, so then there's this other article that I want to read. And that article is the timeline of Allison Holker and Stephen Twitch Boss dating. And from what I was able to kind of piece together, then going back to some of this dating timeline of Allison and Twitch. Okay, so what I've been able to piece together so far is that Allison Holker got pregnant with her first daughter, Wesley Fowler, when she was 19 years old, and she gave birth when she was 20. So Allison was born in February of 1988, and then her daughter, Wesley, was born in May of 2008, when Allison had just turned 20 years old in February, March, April, May, 3 months before she gave birth to Wesley. Then, yawn. The story was that there was a show, I don't remember offhand, that's why I need the article so I can read it, but I'm just going to go through the quick notes. There was a show where Allison was dancing on where Twitch was dancing, and supposedly they had met, but she said she didn't remember meeting. Then they met again on a dance show in 2010. So her daughter Wesley was 2 years old. She met Twitch again, and this time she said that she thought he had a really fun personality. And the story was that she made the first move and that he was clueless and he had no idea that she was interested in him. So I do find that interesting. So I actually found the recording. It actually breaks my heart. And this was recorded in November 17th of 2022. That's actually today. That's today, a year ago. Watching this whole thing just breaks my heart, truly. Watching this again really makes me feel like there's so much to his body language, and I'd love to see an expert analyze it. This was an interview with Jennifer Hudson on her show with Stephen Boss and Allison Holker.
You guys first met on So You Think You Can Dance?
Yes, we did. It was so amazing. You know, I was out there making all these moves, and it took him a second to see them, but once he did, we locked it in. We locked it in.
So you made the first move?
Of course I did.
She made the first move. I'm a little oblivious. I'm a little oblivious, though. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna. No, because I'm not. Because it's like this. She's also, okay, let me preface it. She's also incredibly nice and welcoming and stuff like that. So I'm not going to be like, yeah, she feeling me. You know what I mean?
Hold on. Hold on. I was like arms swooning, like, you know, like all the passes, you know, trying to do all that stuff, and he was oblivious.
I mean, yeah, literally, she was feeling me, like feeling me.
Physically,
during dance
you know?
rehearsals, you know what I mean? But like, so I didn't catch on. I was slow.
Catch on.
But obviously I caught on.
You caught on to something.
Yeah, I caught on to something.
Y'all here together.
I'll say this.
You did bust some serious moves.
When he locked it in, he took me onto the dance floor. We've been together ever since.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's such a beautiful love story, right? Look at y'all are adorable.
Yeah.
And then y'all make some amazing TikTok videos. Like, how long did it take you to make this one?
Because honestly, TikTok is just fun. It's fun. You know what I mean? We loved it. Okay.
Oh, okay. Who even do that?
I know.
Who gonna pick the moves, or one of y'all pick the moves and then you do it? Like, how does that work? Since you're both dancers.
I mean, dance is like it's I guess like a second language to us, right? So honestly, we just turn on music and start moving, and the steps just kind of choreographed. Yo, I'm here.
Oh my God! So your youngest just turned 3?
Yes, our youngest just turned
cute.
3. Zaya, absolutely. Yeah, our youngest turned 3. I mean, and it's just and you know. I know.
She's so cute.
Her.
Oh, so cute.
Oh.
Oh my God, do you miss having a newborn in the house?
I sure do.
Uh-oh.
I think we would love to start trying for another one.
Oh. Oh my God, do you miss having a newborn in the house?
I sure do.
Uh-oh.
I think we would love to start trying for another one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, what? How you feel? Look, she said she missed it. How you feel?
No, listen, we love. Listen, I. No, but we really do. I mean, I love the little babies. I love them, and to be quite, it's a constant conversation.
Okay, well, with that being said, you have your oldest in high school, or?
Yes, in high
wow.
school.
So.
Pray
What's
for
that
us.
like?
Pray
I'm
for
praying.
us.
Our
That's
oldest is 14. She's
14?
a freshman, but she's incredible, man. Like she's.
Pray
What's
for
that
us.
like? I'm
Pray for
praying.
us.
Our oldest
That's what it is.
Our oldest is 14. She's
14?
a freshman, but she's incredible, man. Like, she's so cool. She's such a good kid.
Well, knowing now that interview, well, it says it was November 17th of 2022, which, well, now that it's 1:14 a.m., that was yesterday, a year ago yesterday. And if after that video they had gone on and had another baby, then it would have just been a funny joke. But looking at the stacks upon stacks upon stacks upon stacks of body language clues and cues and stuttering and inability to actually express himself, pray for us. And like I said, if after that video life went on and everything was joyous, then it would have seemed like he was just faking. But the fact that less than a month after that, he was dead by an apparent suicide, I think there's a lot of clues in there. And actually, now that I've looked at that briefly, let me know if you'd be interested in me actually analyzing that entire interview, which was only about 5 minutes long. But as you saw, I skipped through some. Maybe it was 6 minutes, and maybe that was just a clip, and it's an actually much longer interview. If you're interested in more of that interview and my commentary on it, let me know. I know that many people believe that a lot of people, the stereotype is that, men don't want a woman to be the one to make the first move. Men don't like it when women choose them instead of it. So, but it's all kind of, it's very complex, because obviously, I believe that a man is not gonna, a healthy man, I should say, healthy men are not gonna make a move on a woman unless they know that woman is already interested in it. Windy. By interested, I just mean that they have been open and friendly, and maybe you've had a conversation, or maybe if you're just meeting for the first time, maybe, she's smiling at you, she's looking at you, she's openly willing to receive your advances, and it's obvious. Not necessarily that she likes you, but that basically the relationship has started in a more mutual fashion. But some people say alpha male, beta male, alpha woman, beta woman, and there's somebody for everybody. It doesn't have to be one way to make it good or right, or good or true, or loving and true. And then there's a whole dynamic, and some people call it alpha male. My hair looks crazy because I have just a side note, yesterday I did an unbrush review. I haven't posted it yet. And I was putting a ton of oil in my son's hair to try to break down the big huge knot he has, and I had so much left over in my hand and no paper towel, so I wiped it in my hair to get it off my hands. Anyway, who prefers to be asked out first, the man or the woman? It's a very, very complex situation. I'm not gonna make a stereotypical opinion like, well, the fact that she asked him out and he was clueless means, you know, he wasn't really into her. I mean, that's obviously not true. They got married. She said in her anniversary post, she's so glad she said yes to him, which infers that he did propose. Okay, but I just want to point out that I do still find it interesting that the dynamic of how their relationship began was that he was clueless about her, and she was like, hey, I'm dancing into your life. And you know, that works for some people. That's exactly how they want it to be. And so I'm not judging as it is right or wrong, or suspicious or not suspicious, or anything. I'm just making a point that that's the story that they told about how they got together. However you want to look at it, however you want to judge it, the fact is that according to their own story, she was the one who was like going after him, and he seemed clueless and wasn't even like aware that she was into him. Then also what I read in that article was that she said there was, I guess, the second meeting when she thought, oh, he has a really fun personality. They went upstairs, they danced together for 3 hours, and then they were inseparable from then. So Wesley was 2 years old, and she started dating Twitch. They got married. So they started dating in 2010 when Wesley was 2. And then 3 years later, after 3 years of dating, they got married on December 10th of 2013. And Wesley, who was 5 years old, was the flower girl at their wedding. Okay. Then fast forward, they have a baby it was 2016. Then they have another baby in 2019. So then they have Twitch adopted Wesley. So from my own personal experience, I know that in order to be adopted by someone who has a parent who is alive, in order for someone to adopt someone who's a minor, because you can adopt a grown-up and all you need is the consent of the grown-up. But if you want to adopt a minor and that minor has parents that are alive, then the parent has to give consent. And I don't know, it's probably not always the same in every single case, but I would imagine that if someone is adopting your child and legally becoming their parent, then the biological parent is probably not in their life, not in the picture, and or has signed away their parental rights, like my sister's ex-best friend's ex did. He signed away all parental rights to the son after the son was born. He was like washing my hands of it. I'm not the baby's father anymore, basically. So in that case, you can do whatever you want. So, or there's also the possibility that the person who's the father doesn't even know that that's his daughter, because maybe she never told. I have no idea. Again, like I said, she was 19 years old when she got pregnant. And if I had got pregnant when I was 19, then that would have been hellacious. So I'm not judging her. I don't know if... I have no idea. I don't have the deets. I don't have the receipts. And I don't have the information or the knowledge. So I'm just putting out possibilities because that's what I do. So, other notes. Again, it's easy and easier to spot the clues in reverse, which is what I said. Hindsight is 20/20, and reverse engineering a story can sometimes create a false narrative because you might piece together the wrong things, like it might say, well, oh, okay, so she was like 20. So, okay, if she was 20 in 2008, so she was 22, which is still really freaking young. She was 22 years old when she met him. She had a 2-year-old baby. Obviously, she was single, and for whatever reason and whatever manner, it seems to be that she was in the market for a father for her baby. Or maybe she just truly, genuinely, authentically fell in love with him. Wouldn't you? I know I would. And that could be the simplest truth of all. Okay? And Twitch, who was born in 1982, is 6 years older. So when she was 22, he would have been 28 years old. So maybe he was in the market as well. Maybe he was completely ready for a ready-made family with a super gorgeous, beautiful lady who was like, tag, you're it. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know. Okay, but that's what I'm saying. You can reverse engineer and be like, oh, she was out for a daddy. She wanted a baby's daddy. She wanted a black man to be a baby. Or maybe she just fell in love. I don't know. I followed them for years. I thought they were like couple goals. They were like hashtag, like they seem so happy. But at the same time, I can honestly say that one of the first things I thought about when I found out less than a year ago now that he committed suicide, apparently. The bullet to his head in the hotel that he supposedly went to. I thought, I wonder if he actually was deep inside miserable. Maybe she did say, tag, you're it. And he was like, what, me? And he was like, okay, cool. And then like 9 years later, fast forward, he's got 3 kids, all kinds of responsibilities, a giant house. He's got to constantly perform. He can't even be at home and have a moment to himself. Again, speculation, allegedly, guessulation, but it does seem like, it kind of made me think just now of that clip where Jada Pinkett Smith was filming Will Smith, and he's like, don't just come up on me and start filming me in my house. And she's all in his face asking him questions about, do you think the therapist Esther helped us? And he's like, I'm just in my drawers. Like, he said something about, oh, my social media is my bread and butter. You can't just like start filming me in my home. And she responded, look at this nonsense I have to deal with. The nonsense? You mean of respecting his boundaries and like giving him a safe space? Safe haven? That's nonsense you have to deal with? And maybe he really was a happy person. But if you have to be happy all the time and you have to be on and it has to be a performance, then it's performative and it's not genuine, and your actual joy can be sucked away from you So, you know, like, this is research, you know, was he X'd out by someone else? Did he know too much? You know, did she have him? Was he going to leave her? Did he want a divorce? And she was like, oh, hell no, over your dead body. Or did he really, truly mask his misery and try to power through and try to dance through, try to reach for the better feeling, try to just like, I'm just going to shake it off. And, you know, and then one day, maybe they had he said, oh, it's a constant conversation about having this baby. Maybe they had their 9th wedding anniversary, okay, on December 13th or December 10th, 2022, which is 11 months ago, because it's November 16th, 2023 right now. They had their 9th wedding anniversary. There was a video of them dancing. I genuinely, looking at that video, thought, I can see in his face that he's miserable, that he's faking, that he's frowning and stuff. But again, maybe that. Body language and stuff, it's important that things are stacked. You have to stack things on top of it. It can't just be one thing. It has to be another thing and another thing and another thing and another thing, and all the pieces, all the little things, the little clues, the little looks like you're actually frowning, and it looks like you're pretending to frown, but you're pretending that you're pretending to frown because you're actually frowning, but you're pretending that you're pretending to frown. Or you're on an interview talking about having another baby, and you make a face that looks like you really don't want to, and it's a really stressful thing for you, but then you pretend that you were pretending, but that you actually, oh yeah, I love the babies and the whole thing. And you know, like the conversation about babies is a constant conversation. That doesn't sound fun if you're not really fully on board. And all those opportunities and jobs and projects and contracts lined up, that can be amazing and wonderful and look so much to look forward to. Or it could be one nightmare after another. One long, never-ending, when am I ever going to rest? When do I have a break? When can I stop? We danced for 3 hours together and then we were inseparable. Well, maybe he wanted a fucking breather. And the only way that he could see out was that. And that he really truly did make that choice. And there's nothing to cover up except the fact that he was miserable. And that some answers are so complex, infinitely so, that as much as you may understand a thing or think you know a thing, you may never truly know a thing. You know, like I'm sure there's people in Alec Murdaugh's life or Charlie Adelson's life, Adelson, or all of the Adelsons, the Wendy and Donna and Harvey, who they are basically still like, oh no, they're innocent. There's just no way. Like my brain can literally not function believing that reality. So it's going to break in half or break into a million pieces. So the only way is cognitive dissonance. The only way that I can accept that that's true is to not accept that it's true. To accept that, no, it's a lie. Somehow he was framed. Somehow it didn't really happen. Somehow the person's really innocent. Somehow the person didn't actually go and kill himself. But maybe he did. Maybe the reality of his incredibly joyous, happy life, happy family, happy marriage was not at all that. Maybe he was trapped and pressured by somebody who said, tag, you're it, picked him, and he was like gung-ho, 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 until he wasn't. No one can ever fully know someone, including yourself. And that might seem crazy and shocking and weird, but we don't know ourselves fully. That's why I talk about in other videos. I talk about the ass backwards belief that you can manifest anything, anyone, any specific person you want to, regardless of circumstances. And I teach that that's ass backwards bullshit. Yes, it is. The whole idea of like you can manifest any specific person regardless of circumstances, or you can change the way a specific person is treating you, or where they think about you, or what they want from you, or how they show up. And that's such absolute bullshit and crap, because most of us can't even fucking manage to change ourselves. You can't even control. You can't even control the topics that you want to be the topics. Like, let's say I have this list of all these things, and these are the things that I want to think about today. These are the things that I want to talk about. These are the things that I want to make a video about. I'm making this video to say that these are the things that I want to make a video about, and that's what I want to stick to. And will I sometimes get distracted? Like right now, I'm supposed to be packing up. I came to come outside to add something, but there's somebody in the front, so I gotta go around the back. Back in the house, back to the downstairs, down the back steps, out the back door. Okay, all that just so I could come outside and say, I did also do a little research that, wondering like, why do I seem to relate to so many things that people who say that they have ADHD. I relate to a lot of it, but then there's so much of it I don't relate to. And I read that sometimes insanely genius level creatives and ADHD can have a lot of parallels. That there's actually a lot of behaviors or symptoms or affects that look the same for ADHD as it is for an extremely intelligent, highly creative person. And so sometimes people who are extremely creative and highly intelligent are misdiagnosed as ADHD when they're really just motherfucking geniuses. And other times somebody might think that they're super intelligent and almost grandiose, but you just have ADHD. Going back upstairs to go back to finishing packing up my kids. They're overnight with their dad, and back to the video. So I personally think I have a pretty good ability to concentrate and stay focused. I do sometimes get distracted. A lot of the things that people who have ADHD talk about, I feel like, oh, I relate to that, I relate to that, I relate to that. But then every single time I've ever taken an ADHD test, it's like, nope, because there's so many aspects of it that just don't apply to me. But I do have an extremely creative mind that makes a lot of connections and is very interested and interesting and curious. And again, these are all my opinions. These are all for insight coaching, perspectives, and also out of curiosity. So I want to go through that article. I want to read the things that those things say. I want to try to piece together, is what I'm kind of piecing together as an idea storyline. Am I just making it up? Am I reverse engineering a storyline that isn't accurate? Or is there something more to it? And I also am very curious about, what are the reasons that Allison Holker has kept the children away from Stephen's family. And, the little clip that I heard of that podcast where he was talking about his brother was supportive, and he mentioned Robert and he mentioned DeAndre, and I don't know if those are the same people or what, and then he did talk about how his parents seemed confused, like, well, how do you go to college? Like, what kind of career is there in dance? And that seemed kind of hard. And then he also talked about how, I guess he was bullied quite a bit, being called Twinkle Toes and ballerina, and that he was as big as the athletes, and they didn't understand. And there was a thing where he said, sometimes, you don't really know what to think, and then your boy says, like, yo, that's gay, and then you're like, oh, okay, I guess it is. But it seemed like he was able to stick with it and overcome those things and to stay true to himself. And he obviously made an incredibly lucrative career. And I don't know how let me see, I'll make a note of that. How successful, this is a question, how successful was Twitch in 2010? Was he just at the beginning and they kind of met at the start and they, what's that word? Well, I didn't do any research beyond this, but she claims, or perhaps reveals, what may very well be the truth of their situation. They had no money when they first met, and they built their fortune together. They had a meteoric rise to fame and fortune together. I don't know. That's another thing. Like, when did she latch on to somebody who was already well known and famous and financially sound and successful? Or did they become that power couple together?
The lead
Smoking on that. That's what we do. That's underground music.
Also, I did mention, it's kind of funny because when I was talking about it in the video yesterday about how I took hip hop, and I was just like, girlfriend has 2 left feet, 2 left elbows. Just stop, like, please, girl, you can't. And then it's funny because that's the dancing that Allison Holker does. And, I guess that's one of the, it's kind of like I was saying with blackfishing. It's like, I read up a little bit about it yesterday after I made the video. So before I get into this little next part, I do want to just clarify, I don't believe that white people dancing hip hop is cultural appropriation. That's not what I'm saying. And I also don't think that white people dancing hip hop is blackfishing. The fact that I mentioned that is what sparked my memory to talk about the blackfishing. So just want to make that clear, that what it is that's so harmful is that white people or non-black people taking features or things that are from the culture or associated with, or just like the natural inherent way that black people in general look, like having bigger, fuller lips and bigger, fuller hips and bigger butts. And hip hop is a black culture. Yes, I grew up listening to hip hop, so I consider it part of my culture. But and there are plenty of white people who can dance hip hop, who can sing, and they can do it good and wonderful. But that just ain't me. okay? I can do ballet a little bit. I can do modern dance. My body is just suited, like the way I felt. I always felt growing up like the ugly duckling. I had really weird long arms, long legs, just super sort of like flexible and stuff. And when I got into dance class in high school, I felt like, oh my God, I'm a swan. That was my swan moment, my ugly duckling, oh my God, I'm a swan. When I walked in and I was like, these are the people, this is where I belong. I fit here. And I had like almost every dance teacher I ever had was like, you have the perfect dance body. Not in hip hop, girl. And I know that to be a well-rounded dancer, technically you should, you know, be able to do more than just one style, but not everybody can translate everything to themselves. And so, you know, I just don't want to make a fool of myself and look like a fool. It's painful to see me trying to do it, the pop and the lock and the, oh my God, no, please stop. I think she dances quite well. I think she does a great job, Allison Holker. I mean, I don't know. Other people might still feel like why blackfishing is bad is because so when someone who's not black takes on, let's say, a hairstyle that a real black person might be discriminated against at her job or his job or at school or on an interview or at a store, like, or just walking down the street or even in your own damn house, like these things that people are discriminated against and are hated on and made fun of, and then a white person gets a perm, gets some braids, gets a butt lift or lip fillers, and they profit from that, they benefit from that. But just like, this is the exact point, just like all the Kardashians, Khloe and Kim and Kylie, and I don't know about if Kourtney ever did, but so they all had the big ass lips, the big ass tits, the big ass ass, the tiny, tiny little waist with the skinny little fucking stick thighs and the big ass boot. Like, what you weird claymation creature in hell trying to look like an extreme version of a black woman, tanning their skin to the point of like, come on now. And I would go as far as saying fetishizing black men, fetishizing black features, fetishizing children who have black features, not because you love this person and you want to have a baby with him and it's just coming out of true love, pure love, but because you're basically breeding to get the features that you paid for to have surgically enhanced in you. You've bred babies to have that. And I will say Allison Holker's daughter, like, her features are not, it's not clear. And it doesn't need to be clear. I'm not trying to say, oh, you need to prove your DNA. I just am talking about taking a child and using her as a prop to push an agenda that might not be as genuine as it seems. And with the Kardashians, I feel like that's pretty obvious. And I am curious about now that the Kardashians, some of them have decided that they're no longer into the big hips, big lips, big tits, big ass. How is that going to impact how they feel about their biracial children? Now, Kylie Jenner has said she loves her daughter and her daughter's so beautiful and she can't imagine her daughter ever doing those things, and she actually regrets some of it, and seeing her old features in her daughter, who is half black, however, makes her wish that she hadn't done those things. I'm like, girl, you still fake as fuck because you still got all that shit going on. So I'm sure there's some sincerity in that, but at the same time, I mean, and I think she's a victim, a child victim. So it might be a long time before she comes to terms with the truth of it. But I'm just very curious about how those kids are going to end up in the future. They did that for years. They got super rich from it, super popular from it. It was like all the oogles and the googles and, oh my God, she's the sexiest woman alive. Is she though? Now what? All them bitches are skinny as a motherfucker, got rid of their ass, got rid of their tits, I don't know, maybe they let their lips go a little down or not, but skin going back pale, and that's the point. When you're black fishing, you don't have to deal with the reality of systemic racism that's everywhere and be discriminated against for the hair that literally grows out of your head or the lips or the ass or whatever, everything on you, the skin that you have no control over, and yet you are discriminated against in every way systemically. Like, it's not a joke, it's real. Do some research, not bullshit propaganda as public school education, but some real education. And okay, and so the whole idea of I'm just gonna profit off of these things as if it's a style or a fashion statement or it's my brand, but at the end of the day, you can get that liposuction ass back to skinny, get your tits look small again, and now you're like twiggy skinny, but 2-3 years ago you looked like something else. And why is it a problem? Because now you can go back to skinny and being a white girl again, and black people don't have that ability to put it on like a costume. And when you wear somebody else's actual features like it's a costume, that's offensive. Now I'm going to talk about grifters. That people do get understandably bothered by grifters. Hey guys, so whoa, I'm coming to the end of the video, and I decided that I'm going to cut out that part about the grifters who were regular old white ladies pretending to be Native American, because it's sort of off topic, but I did want to just touch on saying, if Allison Holker's daughter is truly an interracial person, I am so sorry for doubting and for making up a storyline, reverse engineering rumors that are not true or accurate. If anything I've said in this video is offensive to anyone who knows them personally or fans who feel like she's an amazing, strong woman who's been through a tragedy and her daughter is an amazing, beautiful woman who was being raised by an amazing man, and she's lost her father, and she is just expressing herself, and they're dancing with joy, and there's absolutely nothing wrong. I truly apologize. This video is not intended for hate. It's intended for research, deep dive, looking into things, curiosity, asking questions, analysis, and also because I really truly loved Twitch. I was a true fan. It's been a year. Like I said, I hadn't been able to bring myself to even watch anything of his. I'd stopped following her. I just couldn't bear it. But it's been almost a year, and I am super curious about it. So after this part, I do go in, I show the article, I go into her Instagram, and I see what's up, what's going on. So continue watching if you want to see what that is. And I do have some snark and condensation, not condensation, like contempt, not contempt, condescension in my tone, because it gives me the ick vibes. And that's my truth. Looking at her Instagram gives me the ick vibes, and it just feels off to me. And that is just my opinion, my alleged speculative speculation. And that's what I wanted to say about that.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
The last thing I wanted to do was to read the actual statement that Allison Holker had stated on December 14th, 2022. Oh, I didn't mean to turn that off. Whoop. The day after discovering that her husband had supposedly shot himself in the motherfucking head and took his life. The day after. Okay, and this is, again, she went to the police station the morning that his body was found, but a couple hours before his body was found, and said, we didn't have a fight, but he left the house without his car. He won't answer my calls. This is 3 days after their wedding anniversary. I'm worried about my husband.
I would have been worried too, and she was right to be worried, and she had every reason to be worried. It does just make me wonder and question, what part of the story was she leaving out?
December 2022, the couple celebrated their 9th wedding anniversary and shared tributes to each other via social media. Allison Holker wrote on Instagram, it's our 9th anniversary. I couldn't be more grateful to celebrate this perfect magical day! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Saying yes, all caps, to at Sir Twitch-a-lot has been one of the best decisions I have ever made in my life! Exclamation point, exclamation point. I feel so blessed and loved! Exclamation point, exclamation point. I love you, baby, and will never take you or our, in all caps, love for granted. All caps, I love you. Period. In his own post, Boss shared photos from the big day with the caption, happy anniversary, my love, at Allison Holker, hashtag 9 years, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hearts, period. Okay, and then, so then 4 days after that, this is what she says. The day after she finds out that he's dead by apparent suicide, she says in a post, it is with the heaviest of hearts that I have to share my husband Stephen has left us. Stephen lit up every room he stepped into. He valued family, friends, and community above all else, and leading with love and light was everything to him. Bitch, what? And please and no. Girl, what the fuck? That sounds like something that your corporate office says about you. Okay, I'm gonna leave this here. I have no idea how long this ended up being, but those are my notes. Those are my thoughts. Those are the next videos I want to make. That's the video I made now. Please comment, ask questions, make your thoughts known. Do you have knowledge? Do you know where there's more information? I'm sure that there's absolutely people who have been fans of his forever, who know every detail about him and her and the life and everything that probably already have deep dives, documentaries, and all that stuff. I, however, don't. But this is where I'm at, and maybe this is something that's interesting, a voice in the void of the question mark, in the sea of confusion and wondering, and how can I pull this into something that's like insight coaching in my own life or in your life, that's not just salacious gossip about celebrities. And that would be that, I mean, I've always thought 3 years of dating is the right amount of time to get to know somebody before you get married. But there's no magical formula that is one size fits all. And I think that the most important thing is to truly be authentic, to not allow other people to be the conductor of your train, driving your life on a path of their choosing and their design and for their benefit. And especially for people who let someone else say, tag, you're it, and you're stuck with me now, and this is where we're going. I'm driving, and you're coming with me like it or not. Maybe you can recognize that in yourself and in your own situation, regardless of which person you are in that role. Maybe you can recognize that the person you're with or the job you're in or whatever the situation is, the friendship you have, the course of study that you've dedicated yourself to, your career, all of that could be someone else is driving you. Someone else is like, I'm the conductor of this train and you are my passenger and you're in the caboose and I'm taking you where I want you to go, and you can look out the window and wave bye-bye to your own fucking dreams and your own individual personality and authenticity and genuine showing up the way you want to, because I'm taking you where I want you to go because it's in my benefit. And you can get out and say, no, I don't want to do that anymore. Or maybe you are the driver and you've got somebody who's very passive. Maybe you manifested the exact specific person you wanted to, regardless of circumstances, because that person was weak-willed, weak-minded, has no purpose or personality of their own, was easily moldable, was easily just gonna like leech on, latch on, glom on, clinger, hanger on. And now you're stuck with, like that one lady who was writing in the comments, oh, I manifested the specific person I wanted to whoopee do, but now he's depressed, suicidal, and's got no job. Can you help me manifest him a job? You know what the magic pill is? That's the other video I wanted to make. The next other video I want to make, let me write that down right now, is stop what you're doing. If you want to manifest your SP, do this instead. And what is this instead? This instead is, forget that motherfucker. That ain't the right person for you. The magic pill is want to want better. The magic pill is you deserve somebody who loves you for you and doesn't need you to manifest them regardless of circumstances, because it's obvious that they're the right one for you. And that's the magic pill. Stop trying to manifest a motherfucker who don't want to be manifested, and recognize that the magic is that you are lovable. Or if you're not lovable, you can learn to become more lovable. And that starts with not wanting to be with somebody who don't want to be with you, or not driving them to the brink of oblivion because you're so controlling and such a steamroller, just going to blast through their needs, their wants, their hopes, their wishes, their dreams, their intention, and then so I'm not blaming Allison if Twitch actually did say that day, you know what, I'm done. I danced my last motherfucking living room dance. I've had my last baby I want to have. I've had my last conversation with this person. I've done my last bit. I've made my last million. I'm going to go and check out. I'm going to go check into this hotel, and I'm going to check out permanently. And that is what he did. And maybe there's video surveillance that shows otherwise, and it was covered up. The story was that he arrived at the hotel with a bag. He seemed in good spirits. Nobody thought or felt anything weird. He went to his room and nobody heard nothing. And then the next day, the housekeeper went to clean up and saw, maybe he was in the tub. I don't know. Maybe they just saw him there dead, and that was that. They called the 911, and supposedly there was a note that said something about past issues. So,
Or past struggles.
I'm looking over there from my computer, but it's over here. Now it's 11:35 a.m. It's still Thursday, November 16th, 2023. I'm going to see how quickly I can compile and edit and post this video. Hopefully it's not too long and it won't take me too long. And again, as I've said, if you're interested in these topics, if these things interest you, if you feel that my insight and my particular flavor, my version of things is something that you'd like to see, watch, hear, be with me regularly. I am working on regularly posting new content frequently, multiple times a week. And as you can see, it's a wide-ranging variety of things that I talk about, but ultimately it all has to do with insight into your own life, into your own ability to love and like yourself, and the ability to have happy relationships with people, to spread love and joy. And despite the tragedy of the horrible, fatal outcome of that situation, which I don't know what actually happened, the truth is that Stephen Twitch Boss was a light, and he did light up every room, and he truly created so much joy in this world on so many platforms in so many ways that his light of joy will never go out. I'm going to listen to those interviews and allow myself to just be present with him and what he shared while he was here. And truthfully, I have not watched any. I haven't been able to bring myself to watch him because he was somebody I used to see every day on my social media. Literally just loved them to death. But I could not bring myself to. I have not been able to bring myself to watch him dancing because I cannot deal with seeing him like that, so joyful or so seemingly joyful, knowing that there was either some insidious depression rotting away inside of him or something much more nefarious and foul play is at play. So I hope you found this interesting. And like I said, this is for entertainment purposes and insight only. So I hope it was entertaining as well as insightful. See you. Bye. So this is the article. I was gonna read it on another video, but this video is taking so long. So I was able to clarify, yes, the children were born. Wait, what is this? The children were born in 2016. The older son, Maddox, that's them, looking quite young. And they filmed So You Think You Can Dance. By the way, yes, I should mention this. if you or someone you know is in emotional distress or considering suicide, please call 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline, please. So it was So You Think You Can Dance. Here's where it says that they welcome son Maddox, born in 2016, and daughter Zaya, born in 2019. And he also adopted Wesley, who was born in 2008. Okay, so then they were also on, after filming season 7 of So You Think You Can Dance, that's when so she says he pointed and did a little come here motion. Okay, so maybe he actually did make some move. So knowing that they're 6 years apart, I was wondering, why were they showing pictures of them both looking like really young kids side by side? I mean, maybe it's just to show how cute they look young. But I also thought it was kind of weird that they didn't show how he really looked next to her when they actually met. So that made me decide, okay, let me go back. Let me try to find some older pictures of him. So I also see, I don't know, maybe he hadn't actually earned any money, but he had already been in films. He was set to be a breakout star that year, 2010, which to me says it said he'd been working for 10 years already at that point. I think in some ways he was quite nerdy and almost cartoonish with some of the hip-hop things like that, which I'm sure is also sort of racism. But there is the picture that they have in this article of them side by side. And that photo was from 2006, which he would have been, there are way too many pop-ups. This article's insane. 24 years old in that young picture, but I don't think so. He looks even younger. It's interesting that they chose to show a version that seems like they were both really young at the same time. Mainstream media is always playing to a narrative, so I'm not at all surprised about that. So yes, that photo is definitely not when they met, even though they put that photo next to her photo in their relationship timeline. That's them, looking quite young. So I did see she also had a long-standing career. This is him in 2008. This one right here, that's when they met in 2010. That's a photo from that season 7 of So You Think You Can Dance, and that's when they actually met. Then that was 2013, which is interesting. Look at how much older he looks right there than the photo they had in the article of them side by side. And that was obviously many years later, and that's when they were together. That's when they got married. So in that photo of them together, they were married and had already been dating for 3 years. But he actually seemed like he aged hella quick, to be honest. It looks like he lived 35 years in that 10 years. And maybe that's the truth. Maybe he lived 100 years worth of life in his short 40 years of life. And you will be missed forever, Twitch. Now, a moment of silence. Now, I also wanted to see what kind of career had Allison Holker had before they met. And apparently she had also had a 10-year-long career by 2010. And she has an extensive history as a dancer. She is, in fact, a professional dancer who's been dancing all her life, starting at a very young age. Her daughter started dancing at a very young age as well. So this is going to just go through. You can pause if you want to read, or probably
better, you can just go to the link and read it for yourself. So you can see she had quite an extensive career with many, many dance abilities. So I was actually kind of surprised. So now I do know that, yes, the father of her first daughter knows about her existence. They were actually engaged. I was shocked to see in this article that was linked here that they were actually engaged. Well, it has to go back to the article so I can see it again. So this was from September of 2010, and it says she was 22 years old and engaged. It does actually say that she's a single mom since recently splitting from her ex-fiance. So I don't know exactly how long before she met Twitch that she was engaged, but recently means recent. So as of September of 2010, she had recently split. And so, you know, that could also just be what she said, because it sounds a lot better than, well, I met somebody I liked better, so I chucked my fiance. Hey, I chucked 3 fiancés, so it's okay. Well, actually, no, I chucked 2, and the third one was a con man, and that went down in burning flames. And I was a lot older than 22. So all of this is no judgment. This is just looking deeply into a thing, because I'm a curious person, and that's what I'm doing in this video. Somebody, the father of her baby. So maybe somebody knows who he is and can actually say, yes, he is actually a black man, and that solves the mystery. Maybe it's not a mystery at all, and I just don't have the details or the knowledge. So to me, it's a mystery, and also a little bit of a mystery because when I look back at her pictures of her as a little girl, I felt more confused than less confused. So I'm just, I guess, being nosy, curious. I'm curious, is she grifting or is she just being her real self? That's what I wish I could just answer that question, even though it's none of my business and nobody owes me an answer. And people deserve privacy, and I 100% believe that. Even though I'm curious and asking questions, I still believe in privacy about whether or not her daughter is actually an interracial, biracial daughter. But it also does seem quite bizarre to me. So she broke up with her fiance, but then immediately it's like, wait, she got with Twitch like right away, because she said that they met in 2010 when they were dancing, but she was engaged. Okay, so I do feel like girlfriend is either a little bit manipulative or one of those people who doesn't know how to be alone, although she's been being alone now for the past year. Look, published on September 28th, 2010, and she's engaged. Yeah, wow. That just brings more questions than anything. Okay, so she's engaged there, and I think they were also on Dancing with the Stars. There's the baby. Well, there's the pregnant. Cute, so beautiful. Okay, it's so sad and so tragic. I'm gonna put this article in the description. And, well, I hadn't read this part. Let me just add. August 2020, the pair confessed that the coronavirus lockdowns had 100% put their marriage to the test. I think where we really luck out being together is that we actually like each other as well. Holker told us at the time. Love is obviously what a relationship is, like, really based off. Some of those people forget
to just like each other. Boss, for his part, said that the increased time together had helped them learn more about how their relationship worked. We get to see how we really work together when we really have no choice of going anywhere at all, he explained, quite eerily, I might add. That's where all of that comes into play. It's just like thoroughly enjoying each other's company and stuff like that, and reaching a deeper level of understanding with each other. But yeah, that's really kind of this point. When we really have no choice of going anywhere at all, he explained. Well, if that's how he truly felt, that could explain. See, this is what I was talking about, where he was frowning and maybe pretending that he wasn't sad. And I believe that this is the last video that they ever posted together the day before he passed away, of them dancing in their home, December 13th, 2023, or December 12th. And, or maybe that, I don't know if they shared that on their anniversary. So I'm probably not going to go ahead and make another article about this, because this one is quite long. So I did go ahead and go onto her Instagram. This was a couple days before he passed away. This was an ad, and they had the kids dancing as well. And so this is one way they were making money. Then they had their anniversary. This is December 10th, 2022. She posted pictures of them and the tribute. He posted of her on his page. Then the next day was December 11th, and that was the actual final post, them dancing, this video where he is frowning, and I feel like you can see that he's not actually happy. You might not have ever thought that looking at this, but what happened the next day? Okay, then this was 10 days later. She's posting him like this, which is okay. You know, I'm not saying you're not allowed to do it. It's just, that's what she did. I'm not going to judge it. But so then in January, she tributed him. I'm not sure what significance that day is. And then I was just curious. So she's posted them. This was, I think, where she was doing a heart-to-heart that seems kind of not, I don't know, didn't feel sincere. There's her daughter with her new style, and then life goes on and posting continues, and that's been the last 11 months. And then this was the last thing that she posted, and I did actually have the thought, oh, okay, is the daughter like the next victim? I know that's so cruel. Maybe they're just honoring and enjoying life. I love to dance around my house in my living room. Then she posted these, how grateful, and funny, I had that same expression looking at this that she has right now. And just to show, she's got 3.8 million followers. She's the host of Home and Garden TV, Disney's Fairy Tale Weddings, which is kind of weird, Dancing with the Stars, So You Think You Can Dance, co-founder, something, there was more, I couldn't read it fast enough. Okay, I'm gonna just film from my laptop with my cell phone because that went by too fast. So she's the host of HGTV and Disney Fairy Tale Weddings TV, which does creep me out. And let me zoom in. And she's the co-founder of, I can't read, Cliss Clee Studios and Boss Family Workout brand at Dick's Sporting Goods, DSG, okay, and Books. Disney, keep dancing through a Boss Family fucking groove, okay? I don't mean to just come out off as such a hater. And, but yet I am, because I don't know, something just gives me the icks. Okay, so this was actually posted just 9 hours ago. And then here's her with her 15-year-old daughter. And, I mean, hey, my niece is in her 20. My niece is 20, 21. Okay, but when she was in high school, I remember she was looking pretty damn fine. So, but here we go again with the hair. And what else is sort of giving me the ick? See, like her features, to me, she definitely looks like she could be biracial. But, you know, the hair she had when she was a little girl wasn't giving that to me, but I could be wrong. But I also do wonder, why is she like smirking? What's with this? Like, what? Why? It's almost like, oh, that's cute. But, like, again,
It seems as if she has this particular smirky expression in every single photo going back all the way back. So either she thinks it's sexy and cute, or she's just straight up smirking all the time. This is not actually a good expression, in my opinion. This is a smirk.
like, I don't know if maybe she thinks that's her sexy face, but it's kind of giving like, I don't know, it's giving something else than sexy to me. I could be wrong. She's, you know, hey, move on. You gotta move on. Moving on. She's okay. She's got some honesty. All right. And, let's see. This is the Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Okay. And it was 2 days ago. So, you know, I don't know. I'm not super happy about her daughter being kind of sexualized. Maybe she's not. Maybe I'm sorry. Maybe that was rude and judgy of me. She's not sexualized. She's just cute. I don't know. Those are my thoughts. This video became super long, and, just FYI, I put a little bit of a blur filter just to blur the kids out a little. Yeah, so maybe she really is just doing her best to do her best after super horrific tragedy. And her daughter is a beautiful biracial girl who lost her adoptive father, and her kids lost their dad, and that's very, very, very tragic. And she lost her husband and her best friend and all that. Is true and real and everything. So I'm gonna just keep my eye out. If anybody actually wants me to go through and read that article, which I can pull back up again. Part of me says, hated it. 2 snaps in a circle when I see her page, but at the same time, it's just speculation. If you really want me to read this, let me know, okay? Otherwise, comment and rest in peace, Stephen Twitch boss, you will be missed forever and a day. Okay, this is what happens at 3:30 in the morning. Now I'm curious. So they were both, let's see, they met in 2006, so he was 24. That's probably why they put those pictures together. And she was 18 the first time they met. Okay. Then they met 4 years later in 2010, and he was born 1982. He was 28 years old. And in 2010, Allison, who was born in 1988, was 22 years old, and she was engaged with a baby. But somehow the fiance is gone, and he let the baby get adopted. Okay, in 2013, they got married. Stephen Twitch was 31, and in 2013, Allison Holker was 2013 when they got married. She was she was 25 years old, and the baby was 5, and the fiance went from being fiance to goodbye, and I'm not even the dad. Okay, then they had their first baby together when Stephen Twitch was 34 and Allison was 28. Then they had her third baby, his two, but okay, he was 37 and she was 31. And she wanted to have another baby. In 2022, she wanted to have another baby. And then he took his life instead, a month after they talked about it on Jennifer Hudson's show. And then he was 40 years old. And she was 34 years old when she became a widow and a mother of 3.